My name is Myfanwy MacLeod, and the name of the project is The Birds. The birds are two overscaled, monumental sort of sparrows. They both measure about 16 feet high. They're house sparrows, and they were created for the Winter Olympics in 2010 for the city of Vancouver. House sparrows are actually a non-native species to BC and to North America. In fact, they were imported in the mid 19th century by homesick Europeans who missed sort of their natural flora and fauna. And I think it kind of spoke to the history of BC, but also of Canada in general. I saw this parallel between the sort of natural environment and the human also migrations and immigrations into this country. I had recently read an article in the newspaper about alien invaders and the problem of invasive species. I wanted to do something that was in the urban environment that we see every day that might go unnoticed and draw our attention to that. And one of those things was sparrows, which are kind of ubiquitous in the city. I think one of the things that I wanted to do with the scale of the birds in particular is sort of make them slightly ridiculous, but also sublime, and they were kind of awe-inspiring in a way, to sort of point out two sides to this reaction to the invasive species. And it was happening at a time politically in the US where there was a lot of talk about immigration and people from South America and Mexico coming to the States and sort of as alien invaders as well. So there was this kind of desire on my part to sort of mimic that hyperbole of politicians through the scale of the birds. There was a long history to that site, basically. It had been first settled by the First Nations people, and then through the years had become, a site of industry. And then when industry fell away, then it became this new development and new neighborhood. And the other inspiration was Alfred Hitchcock's film The Birds. The original story, actually, which was a Daphne du Maurier short story that was written just after the war, because its original story is actually set in England, and then Hitchcock relocated it to the sort of west coast of America. The birds represented, I think, the bombing of the sort of Germans during the war. And so I think there was this parallel in terms of ideas of war and relating that to this invasion of the birds and this sort of strange behavior. And for me, that was kind of quite a sort of interesting starting point too for the project. But when I've been down there, there's all sorts of kids running around playing on the birds, which is, always nice and encouraging to see. Overall, the response from the general public has been pretty positive.